In terms of Chelsea, they've got a tough game for me away. Bournemouth aren't a good team, but Chelsea can't score. It's a really tough game for them. How do we see that going, Daps?
You hit me with Chelsea. I still wanted to talk on Sancho. I think Chelsea win it. I think he just needs to. I do worry for Poch already because Chelsea's fan base is. They're not going to give him time, are they? They're not going to allow him to. But I think they beat Bournemouth. I do think they beat Bournemouth. The hardest thing is this Chilwell thing. That's the debate. It's who plays left wing, and I'm a big fan of Sterling on the right. Very big fan. I think he's a lot better. Always was at City. It was Sane, Aguero, Sterling. It wasn't Sterling, Aguero. And I think moving him back to the left is not ideal, but I don't think they've got much options. So they're going to have to move him to the left, probably play Cole Palmer on the right. I just think Chelsea lack experience. I said this in the summer. They've brought a lot of potential, whole heap of potential, but they're having to play Chilwell because of the lack of experience. They're playing him further forward to try and play the defence how ultimately Poch needs to play them because he doesn't have trust in playing four at the back. For me personally, it's a bit like the England one where you look at England and I think as fans we can say the midfield we want. We can look at Arsenal's midfield with Partey fully fit and say the midfield we want. I think most Chelsea fans can look at Chelsea and say the defence they want, the midfield they want. But you know what? Sometimes managers see something different. And will Poch get that time with this fan base? If they get a bad result against Bournemouth, I don't know. But there has to be big questions if they lose to Bournemouth for me. Because like you said, Terry, you just started this off saying Bournemouth are not a good team. Right? I've had Chelsea fans tell me they expected to go to West Ham and beat West Ham. If you expect to go to West Ham and beat West Ham under Moyes with the tools that are perfect for the way he plays football, they better be expecting to go Bournemouth and batter them. Otherwise, it's and goals. Jackson, we got told all summer Jackson's good. So this is Bournemouth. I can't hear this. I don't know if Bournemouth should not be a tough game for Chelsea. It shouldn't be. I'm sorry. It shouldn't be. But if you're saying it is.
Where's it at? Is it at
Bournemouth?
Shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter.
Yeah. It shouldn't matter. You're right. It shouldn't matter. But I think Chelsea are in a worse situation than even what we were saying about Man United in terms of being desperate for a win right now, because they should be doing a lot better than what they actually are with the talent that they brought in. I know, like what you were saying there, Daps, about it being potential, not experience, but the money that they've spent, the players and the caliber of players that they've brought in, they should be getting results against Nottingham Forest. They should be getting
based on the money, though. Just based on the money.
Well, you say that, but you know, you've got Caicedo in the midfield now alongside Enzo Fernandez, you know, highly rated players. I know the striking department is the one that's letting Chelsea down more than anything right now. But, you know, Sterling weren't bad at Manchester City, and he just seems to have died a quick death at Chelsea, although he's probably been their standout player so far this season. So there are players there that should be doing better than what they are doing. I do think they have to give Pochettino time. But will they get it? Like you say, you know, the Chelsea fan base, very impatient, used to having managers sacked season after season and you know, still getting success from it. I just don't think it's going to be the same thing under Todd Bowley, personally. I think you're going to have to go through a process with one manager, and it will take time.
I think that's the key. I think Poch is the right manager for the players they've got potential. But I just feel they still haven't, has Poch had a meeting with the board and have they discussed what they actually need? And again, it kind of looks like that again, that I'm still struggling you look at them. To be fair to them, they have got some bad injuries. They've got injuries there, which is a valid point. But then, and it's a hard one to speak on Chelsea, because if you understand football, you can't expect new board, new manager, new players, new style to work straight away. But then there's the side of you, and especially me as a City fan, that goes, well, you know what? With spending money brings pressure. So, and that's where I am. I'm like, I want to say, Chelsea, you must do this. But the football side of me goes, but I wouldn't expect anyone to do that straight away.
No,
and I think that's because of the injuries and where they've missed out on. Like for me, buying Lavia and Caicedo, there was no need. No need for both of them, right? That money could have been spent elsewhere wiser, right? And it's just stupid mistakes like that that makes me question Chelsea's direction.
The money thing.
Who's actually spending the money here? Is it Todd Bowley? Is it Pochettino?
Is it both?
If it's Pochettino, right, then I understand why the pressure would be on him. But if it's your owner just going out and picking players that the manager doesn't necessarily want and stuff like, you're actually making it a more difficult job for Pochettino than what it needs to be. Because then he's got to sort through all of this. Oh, well, we brought players. We've put them on an 8-year contract. I've got to get something out of them.
No, but
I
think what Chelsea have tried to do is adopt a similar model to Brighton, which is we buy players that fit the club's style of play. So no matter what manager comes in, we need to find a manager that fits the players that we've got, as opposed to getting a manager and being in the situation that United are in now, where the next manager comes in and he's looking around and he goes, actually, I don't want this player, get him out, and I need to get this type of forward. He gets sacked after 2 years or gets taken away in Brighton's case. And then the new manager comes and goes, actually, no, I need a target man. I don't need this fast type of striker. Brighton, I've kind of transitioned seamlessly from Potter, because from ages now, they go and buy these players that no one really knows about, but they fit what Brighton are trying to do at any given point. So it means that the manager that they picked has to fit what the club's identity. And I think Chelsea have tried to go and do that. Do you know what I mean? Signing all of Brighton's backroom staff and getting Potter in and all of that. So what they're doing right now is they're buying players to go and fit the Chelsea identity. I don't know what that identity is, but it seems like they're trying to adopt that. So no matter whether Pochettino does well, no matter whether Pochettino gets into the top 4 or not, he might be here for a while, he might be here for a short while. The next manager that comes in, they're going to still try and fit that Chelsea model. When you look at the 2 managers that they've had previously, in terms of Potter and Pochettino, the thing they've got about them is they like to go and develop these young players. So it's, like I say, it's a risky thing because of the amount of money they spent. But
so do you think the injuries have impacted that then? Because I do think slightly they've been unlucky with injuries. I've got to give it, and it's hard for me to say that because of the amount of money they've spent. But
money spending is, everyone needs to spend money.
Thank you, bro.
You think Brighton's getting their players without spending money? They're spending something. So
but not a billion, though, KJ.
But it doesn't matter.
There is that expectation. Like I agree, because football is not black and white.
What I'm saying is, the amount of money you spend is not a direct correlation to things working. You still have to make the right decision. You still have to get the right players.
As these said, the pressure's higher. So in Chelsea's situation right now, you have to remember, we're talking about Chelsea. If Brighton had done this model, don't get it twisted. But they had Malpay up front, they had loads of forwards up front, and they splashed a lot. They had McAllister on loan. They've been spending a lot, obviously not in comparison to what Chelsea has spent, but spent on a lot of players. I think they've got the highest turnover of players in the Premier League at the moment in time, in terms of the amount of players that they've had in the last 5 years. It's the fact that Chelsea have spent $1 billion though. It's $1 billion.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
If Brighton have spent $1 billion, would the pressure be the same? It wouldn't be.
No, it wouldn't be, because they're Chelsea, but it's still, you spent $1 billion and it's not worked.
I hear you. Yeah, I agree with what Daps is saying. It's one of those things about when you look at the amount spent, you go, they've got to win. But then you look at what they've spent it on and you go, but that isn't the team that instantly is going to be able to win. And I also think probably 300 to 400 million of what they've spent is on players that they may end up selling on for profit. And I think that the way Chelsea are trying to do this, people have got to go and watch the Burnley documentary. In the first episode, they talk about this is what the smaller clubs do. They buy lots of players for decent prices that are talented. And no matter how good they are, they know they're selling them in 2 to 3 years for a profit. That's how they generate enough money to be able to consistently try to compete against bigger teams. I think Chelsea are looking at those models and going, we can do that, but supercharge it and then generate even more income. And I think what you'll then see through those sales in a year or two's time from some of these players that won't even touch a ball for Chelsea. Look at City are doing. All their academy players and their loaned out players, they've raised 300 or 400 million pounds. You do that, then you can go out and go, boom, there's 150 million pound world-class striker. Remember, Chelsea were going to have a shortfall of income. Everyone's forgotten about all this. They used to make about 60 million a year through loaning players out. FIFA have changed the rules on how many players you can loan out. There was going to be around a 50 to 60 million pound a year shortfall, plus how much money Roman pumped in per year. He pumped in around 30 million a year. So the club was going to have nearly a 90 million a year shortfall. The club had to come up with a way of generating in the medium to long term money. And I think part of that spend is on that. However, back to tomorrow's game, Saturday's game. Sunday's game. They're playing Sunday. I'm having a mare on that. I keep thinking it's Friday. I told you I went to sleep before the show. My head's gone. They have to beat Bournemouth away. As much as they need time to make this team come together, Bournemouth away is absolutely must win, because if Poch doesn't start getting results, it doesn't matter how patient Chelsea fans say they're going to be. Every poor result, you'll get more and more people say, is he the right guy? And the only way they actually knit this plan together is by having a manager for at least the medium-term period to get the style of football working in the first team. They keep sacking managers every season. This project doesn't work, and results have to come. And so
Terry, that's very
curious.
What you said is spot on, because the model you spoke about, yeah, you're right. And from running the club long-term sustainability, that's what they're trying to do. The problem is that you've got the fans that are used to the peaks and troughs of winning, get rid of a manager, bring another one in. Yeah. And this is the issue that I also think Bowley's not only trying to make Chelsea sustainable, I think he's trying to improve the style of play. He's trying to take the brand to another level by playing maybe less pragmatic football and more exciting football, because that takes Chelsea to a different level that maybe they haven't reached yet. But